Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. We continue our series in Daniel, but this time in Daniel chapter 5 with the new king and quite some time interval from the last chapter. One thing to watch, Daniel in this book is now called Belshazzar and the new king is called Belshazzar. They're only one letter apart and so it can get very confusing. What the Lord wants to show us in Daniel 5 is the enormous contrast between King Nebuchadnezzar and King Belshazzar, and the way that they respond to the word of the Lord, because the word of God brings to one life and to the other destruction and death. One is saved and one is rejected. One refuses and one responds. The difference between the two is extraordinary. It's stunning. Last week I spoke of the severe mercies of God. For King Nebuchadnezzar, God's mercy was in view and the king received mercy. But here with King Belshazzar, God's judgment is in focus and the king is found wanting. That's the issue with the whole chapter. It's tragic because the king has forgotten God, or he has mocked or even despised the Lord. He deliberately takes the sacred vessels that were taken from the temple in Jerusalem all the years before, and he uses them in a defiling kind of way, in a drunken party to worship false gods. And Daniel tells him this. He says, "With you understood, O king, you knew, O king, and you have lifted yourself up against the King of heaven, against the God of heaven." When Daniel confronts him like that, when the king asks Daniel to come to him to tell him about the meaning of the hand that wrote on the wall, Daniel is offered gifts, and Daniel says, "Keep your gifts, give them to somebody else. He already knows this is a wicked king. He wants nothing from him." You know, I've seen art depicting the judgment of God as somehow funny. But it's not. It's not funny at all. God is not mocked and God is not despised. In this case, the king was rejected by God. It's easy for us to think that if God is truly good, that for some reason that means he will save us all. But the word of God doesn't say that. It doesn't say that because God is so good, he will save everybody. It says because God is so good, he will save some. And he will save many. But not that he will save all. And this man he did not save. Perhaps the miracle is that God, in his righteousness, saves any. Think on that. For we are completely undeserving of God's grace and favour and love. That's why John Newton wrote his lyric, Amazing Grace, because he knew how broken and how degraded and wicked he really was. And we are all lost without Christ in our lives. We will all appear before the judgment seat of Christ. So Daniel 5 is a tough chapter, but it's a reminder that God will not always save. The king chose his own rejection. Nebuchadnezzar was broken by God and saved, but this man broke himself. The writer of the Hebrews in chapter 12 in the New Testament says, "See that no one misses out on the grace of God." But some do. We must be honest about this. And to quote Hebrews 12 again, our God is a consuming fire. I think it's amazing, it's wonderful though, that God offers us salvation. And we have to bow, and we have to bow the knee, and he offers us a brand new life. He offers us a new life in him, in the love and in the protection and the power of Christ. It's an amazing deal. God bless you all.